Hello kids, I'll be traveling overseas for the next 2 weeks, so I thought I'll record this video so you can practice more programming content. First of all, a quick recap of what we did last 2 weeks. Shapes and colors. You can define the size of your display window using the size command, and you can also paint the background with 255 red, 255 blue, green, and 255 blue, that's white. Next, you're gonna say that the brush color is blue and the brush size is 5. The fill color is a lot of red, some green, and no blue. And draw the rectangle with top left corner at 80/50, its width being 100 and height being 200. Next shape, you don't want any outline. The fill color is lots of green and blue and very little red, and it's a circle centered at 160 150 with diameter of 20. So let's run this program, and that's your output. So you can see that the background is white, the rectangle has very thick borders, and then the circle is aqua in color. So that's what we did last 2 weeks. Now, today, the first thing I'll explain is the println statement. So let's take a look at that. So let me open println statement. I'm showing println statement just so that I can explain random in the next program. Inside println, whatever value you put is displayed here in the console at the bottom. So first of all, I'm just going to display 10, and I run this and it displays 10 here. Next, I'm going to display hello, but without the double quotes. Now it will not work because it says hello cannot be resolved to a variable. Any text value that you display has to be in double quotes, more or less. Single quotes are for single characters, but that's a different story. Now when I run this, it displays 10 followed by hello. Now the purpose of this program is to explain the random statement. So if I say random 5, 10, random function resolves to a random value which is between 5.0 and 10.0, but the last value, which is 10.0, is not included. So it can be anywhere from 5.0 to 9.9999. So when I run this, it will be a random value, that's correct, another random value between 5 and 10, yet another random value between 5 and 10, and so on and so forth. So we have absolutely no control over what value we'll get. Similarly, if I say between 1.5 and 1.6, then it's a random value which is between 1.5 including 1.5 and 1.6 but excluding 1.6. So here you can see 1.565 and so on and so forth. So that's an introduction to the random function. Now I'm going to use that random function to draw a circle which is of random size. So we've already done size, background, and fill. Now what I'm doing is I'm drawing the circle at the center of the screen because the screen is 400 by 400 pixels. The center is at 200, 200. Its diameter is the one that I'm randomizing. I'm using random 20, 400. So it's going to be between 20 and 400. It can be 20 or it can be 399.9999 in the extreme case. So when I run this time it's a rather big circle. Run it again. This time it's a small circle. When I run it a third time, it's a massive circle. So I have absolutely no control over what the actual diameter will be. I know that it will be in a range. You can also randomize other aspects of the circle. So if you want the X location to be randomized, you can say I want it to be anywhere between, let's say, 25 and 375. Okay, it's to the right. This time it's to the left. This time again to the left, and again to the left, and so on and so forth. I have no control. This time it's pretty much smack in the center. So that's what a random function does. In our next program, I'll introduce our first animation program. You will have to remember these two aspects, which is void setup followed by curly brackets, and whatever code you have goes between the curly brackets. And void draw, again, curly brackets, whatever code you have goes in the curly brackets. The way processing works is whatever code you have inside setup executes once at the beginning of the program. So it will set up the screen size, it will also erase the background, and then it will execute whatever you have inside draw. And I only have one circle, so instead of one circle I can also add a rectangle, and the rectangle again random 0 600, random 0 400, and again size 50, comma 50. So I can actually draw a square as well, because with square I don't have to specify width and height separately. So in this case, once my screen size has been determined and background has been set, it will draw the circle and then the square, and it will keep repeating. It will draw the circle and then the square, then it will draw the circle and the square, then it will draw the circle and the square, and then it will draw the circle and the square forever. Now what I've done in the circle is, we've seen that circle is X location, Y location, and diameter. Square is X and Y location of the top left corner and diameter, or not the diameter, the sides of the square. In my circle, its X location can be anywhere from 0 to 600. Its Y location can be anywhere between 0 to 400, because my display window is 600 by 400. So it can be anywhere. On one extreme, its X location will be 0 and Y location will be 0, so top left of the screen. On the other extreme, its X location will be 600 and Y location will be 400, so at the bottom right of the screen. For the square, I do the same thing. I again generate a random number between 0 and 600, which will be different from the first random number. So every time a random function is called, it generates a new number. Okay, let's run this and see if my claim that circle, square, circle, square, circle, square are drawn over and over is correct or not. So let's run this program. And there you go. You can see that every time draw executes, it draws one circle and one square. And it will go on forever. Of course, you can just stop the program and make it terminate. My last program is to introduce variables. And that will truly bring animation to life. A variable is a name we give to a value, and we can change that value over the period of time. Here, I'm giving, and for your purpose, the variables will be declared at the top of the program, just for your purpose. Later on, we can see that you can declare variables inside as well, but let's not worry about that. Int means it's whole numbers only. So it's numbers like -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it cannot be 1.5, 2.5, etc. The name I'm giving this variable is X, because I want it to hold the X location of my circle. and the value I'm assigning it is 50. In my setup, I set up the size of the screen and the background. In draw, each time draw executes, I will erase the background again. I will fill with the red color the shape that is to follow, no borders, and the circle is drawn at x, 200. Now remember that x is 50. So the circle is being drawn at 50, 200 with a diameter of 100. So if I run this, it will draw the circle at 50, 100, and what it's doing is it's drawing it over and over and over at the same location. So you don't realize it, but this is an animation. Now our purpose is to actually animate, so I want to make it move, and that is done by using what we call the assignment operation, and it's equal sign. So I'm saying x becomes, so you should think of the equal sign as becomes. X becomes x plus 1. In an assignment operation, whatever value is on the right hand side of the equal sign, it will compute it. What's x? X is 50. 50 plus 1 is 51. And it will copy that value into the variable on the left hand side, which is x. So it computes x plus 1 and copies it back into x. So x becomes 51 the first time. When draw executes again, x becomes x plus 1, but at that time x is 51, 51 plus 1, 52, x becomes 52. Next time x will become 52 plus 1, 53, then it will become 53 plus 1, 54, and so on and so forth. Let's run this. And you can see my circle starts moving. So this is a nice program to explain two things. One is the use of setup and draw, and the second is the use of variables. I'm going to copy the entire program and paste it again into a new program. Let's get rid of the x increment. Instead of the circle being on the left, I would like the circle to be at the top in the middle and start falling down. Now I would like you to modify this program so that instead of the circle going to the right, the circle starts over here, top, middle, and starts falling down. Also, when the circle is falling down, what aspect of the circle is changing? Is it the x value or the y value or the diameter is what you should think about. And name that variable accordingly. Here I'm changing x, that's why I've named it x. If you're changing y, you should name it y. If you're changing the diameter, you should name it diameter. So as a practice program, I'm going to create two programs. I'm going to supply the outcomes of those programs and ask you to write those programs. This program will be provided as a template. Okay, so here's the output I want you to achieve. The circle starts at the top and starts falling down. Once again, circle starts at the top and starts falling down. And here's the second program that I want you to achieve. Here is a square display window. It starts with a small circle and the diameter of the circle should increase gradually so that the circle covers the entire screen at some point of time. So given one program where the circle is going from left to right, I want to write a program where the circle goes from top to bottom, and a second program where the circle is always at the center of the screen but is increasing in size. All the very best, and I'll see you when I get back.